You would not believe the serendipitous timing. So I was walking a job site just the other day while I'm finishing up this entire 1 hour series on mineral wool. And what do I find? But the perfect example of what I need to show you to finish this whole thing off. So I'm going to throw this in as bonus material, and I'm so excited to be able to share this with you. Total real world example. Are you ready? Here we go. As I was walking along the project, I was looking at the head of wall fire stopping, and there was something that just didn't look quite right. So it looked a bit fluffy. I could see gaps around the edges. I saw a few remnants of some bats of mineral wool that they probably were using for the head of wall fire stop installation, and it was only 2 inch wide. Now, that is not a problem because a lot of mineral wool comes in various different thicknesses, even the stuff that you're allowed to use for fire stop applications. So don't gauge it by that. But when I squeezed it, because, doesn't everybody want to squeeze something that's going to make them itchy and scratchy? But that's just me. So I squeezed the mineral wool a little bit and it seemed very light and fluffy. There wasn't a whole lot of body to it. Red flag right there. As I was walking along the project, I knew I needed to keep an eye out for some sort of evidence of what they might be using. And lo and behold, what do I find but this? Now, the picture is upside down from the way I took it because I want you to be able to read what's written on it. So there's that white panel across the top of the bag of mineral wool. It says AFB. And then below that, you could see it says acoustical fire bats. Now, it doesn't matter what manufacturer you're dealing with. If you've got acoustical mineral wool, that's probably not going to work for your fire stop application. But when you tell that to your fire stop contractor, if this is something that they've been doing for ages, you're going to have a fight on your hands. So the reason I want to show this to you is because I want to share with you an easy way to avoid that fight. After 20 years in the construction industry, I've learned how to avoid fights as often as possible. So I'm going to keep going with the story, and at the end, I'll tell you what I did. Now, keep in mind, just because this material exists on the project does not mean that it's what the fire stopper is using. So don't jump to any crazy conclusions. As we walked along, I kept my eyes peeled for anything else that looked like mineral wool, or more specifically, mineral wool packaging, because what I was honestly hoping to find was evidence that they were using the right stuff. So I ran across this, and all I could see was the information that you see here. All of the printing on the bag, none of it gave me any evidence that they had the right stuff or the wrong stuff. So I took this picture knowing that I could just send an email over to the manufacturer and get some answers. And that's exactly what I did. Here's a copy of the email that I sent to the manufacturer through their website. So I sent this on Thursday and I got a response the very next day. The reason that I did this, instead of approaching the contractor and saying, hey, you did this and I think that it's wrong, now instead of me having an opinion that may be in contrast to what the contractor has for an opinion, I no longer have a fight because look what I got the very next day. With this email, there is no he said, she said. There is no I think I'm right and you're wrong. Here is what the manufacturer said. Their response to my email was, neither one of them can be used, but here's the right stuff. Now, again, remember, I never had a conversation with the contractor to find out what material they were using. But armed with this email, when that conversation does happen, it'll go very differently because I'll be able to share this with them and they will see immediately, without anybody's opinion, this is the manufacturer saying, not appropriate material for that type of an application. So, unless you really like fighting, in which case, please stay off my projects, this is an interesting way to skirt those crazy battles, those egos, and remember that when somebody does have an ego, oftentimes it's because they want to think that they're doing it right. And let's face it, as I shared with you, it was hard for me to learn things that I hadn't been doing right. And it shouldn't be any more difficult for anybody that takes pride in the work that they do. So be gentle as you share this new information with people. Be kind and be helpful. I hope this helps you build better. And again, as always, thank you for your time.